Look, if you've ever tried to bring someone new into your business, you know that first week is chaos. There's a manager fumbling through folders looking for the onboarding checklist, a new hire clicking through outdated presentations in a dim conference room, and somewhere in the background, crucial institutional knowledge is slipping through the cracks. Most small businesses lose between 15 and 20 productive hours per new employee just trying to get them up to speed. That's not a training problem. That's a systems problem. And AI onboarding automation is starting to change how smart operators think about solving it. Here's the thing most business owners miss. The real cost of onboarding isn't the paperwork or the welcome lunch. It's the invisible tax you pay when your best people spend their time repeating the same explanations over and over. When new hires can't find the answer to a simple question without interrupting someone's deep work. And when critical context about why you do things a certain way never gets documented at all. A founder scrolling through Slack messages at midnight, trying to remember what they told the last hire is not a scalable growth strategy. The traditional onboarding playbook was built for a different era. You'd create a manual, maybe record some screen shares, assign a buddy, and hope for the best. But think about what actually happens during those first 30 days. A new employee encounters hundreds of micro-decisions. Which client gets priority when two deadlines collide? How do you handle a refund request that doesn't quite fit the policy? When should you escalate versus solve it yourself? That texture, that judgment, lives in the heads of your existing team. It's the hum of activity in a busy office where someone can overhear a solution or catch a senior person handling an edge case. If you're getting value from this breakdown, consider subscribing. We dig into business tech that actually moves the needle, not just hype. Now, here's where AI automation for small business onboarding starts to make sense. We're not talking about chatbots that spit out generic answers from a knowledge base. The newer systems can ingest your actual business operations, your emails, your project notes, your recorded calls, your internal wikis, and build something closer to a working model of how your company thinks. Imagine a new hire typing a question into a dashboard lit by the glow of their laptop screen. And instead of getting a link to a PDF, they get a contextual answer that references your specific workflows, your client base, your pricing structure. The AI isn't guessing. It's pulling from patterns in how your team has actually solved similar problems before. This isn't magic. It's pattern recognition at scale. Think of it like mycelium spreading under a forest floor, connecting root systems so nutrients flow where they're needed. These AI systems map the connections between tasks, people, and outcomes in your business. When a new customer service rep asks how to handle a billing dispute, the system can surface not just your policy document, but also the email thread where your finance lead walked someone through the exact scenario last month. It compresses months of observation into days of guided experience. The business case is straightforward when you run the numbers. Let's say onboarding one employee currently takes 3 team members, about 5 hours each of active time over 2 weeks. That's 15 hours of senior capacity diverted from revenue work. Multiply that by even modest hiring velocity, say 6 new people a year, and you're looking at 90 hours, or more than 2 full work weeks spent on repetitive knowledge transfer. Automated onboarding systems can cut that time by 40 to 60% while improving consistency. But here's what changes everything. The real bottleneck isn't the training materials. It's the context transfer that happens in hallway conversations, in the judgment calls a senior person makes without thinking, in the unspoken priorities that guide daily work. A salesperson closing a deal on a video call doesn't just follow a script. They read the room, they adapt, they pull from dozens of past interactions. That nuance is incredibly hard to systematize, and this raises a hard question. When you automate onboarding, what human intuition and relationship building might you lose in pursuit of efficiency? Industry reports show that employees who feel connected to their team in the first month are 3 times more likely to stay past their first year. There's a version of AI onboarding automation that optimizes for speed, but fails to build the social fabric that makes someone want to stay. A new hire working through AI-generated modules alone in their home office, staring at a screen with no ambient office energy, might learn the procedures, but miss the culture. This is about potential workflow improvements, not business guarantees. Results depend on how thoughtfully you integrate the technology, and whether you preserve the human touchpoints that matter. Let me flip this for a second. The common belief is that AI makes onboarding colder and more transactional. But what if the opposite is true? What if automating the repetitive explanations actually frees up your senior people to spend more time on the high-impact human moments, the strategic conversations, the mentorship, the relationship building? A manager who used to spend 3 hours walking a new hire through software setup can now spend that time on a coffee chat about career goals and company vision. The AI handles the what and how. The human focuses on the why and who we are. The flip side is integration complexity. Small businesses often underestimate the upfront work required to make these systems useful. You can't just plug in an AI tool and expect it to understand your business. Someone has to audit your existing knowledge, clean up outdated documents, structure your workflows so the AI has quality inputs to learn from. A founder surrounded by sticky notes and open browser tabs, trying to map out their onboarding process for the first time, often discovers they don't actually have a clear process. The AI forces you to get your house in order. That's valuable, but it's also a hidden time cost. Budget for it. There's also the question of compliance and data sensitivity. If your onboarding involves client information, financial data, or regulated materials, you need to be careful about what you feed into an AI system. A startup CTO reviewing security logs on a monitor in a quiet server room late at night is thinking about access controls, data residency, and audit trails. Not every AI onboarding platform is built with the same rigor. If you're in healthcare, finance, or any field with strict compliance requirements, verify that your vendor's architecture meets your standards. This isn't fear-mongering, it's practical risk management. Let's talk about learning curves and change management. Rolling out a new system means getting buy-in from the people who currently own onboarding. Your managers, your HR lead, your senior operators. They might see AI automation as a threat to their role, or a signal that their expertise isn't valued. A team lead sitting in a workshop room with crossed arms, skeptical of the new platform being demoed on a projector screen, is a real obstacle. The successful implementations I've seen involve those people early, treat them as co-designers, and position the AI as a tool that amplifies their impact, rather than replaces it. If your rollout strategy is, "We're doing this, get on board," expect friction. Another consideration is the ongoing maintenance. AI models drift. Your business changes. New products launch. Policies update. Team structures shift. A dashboard showing outdated onboarding content with red warning icons is a sign that someone needs to be responsible for keeping the system current. That's usually a part-time role, maybe 5 to 10 hours a month, but it's real work. Factor it into your operational planning. The businesses that treat AI onboarding as set it and forget it end up with a tool that gradually becomes less useful and more frustrating. Now, the opportunity here isn't just about saving time. It's about what becomes possible when onboarding is no longer a bottleneck. You can hire more confidently. You can scale your team faster when market conditions demand it. You can bring on contractors or seasonal help without the anxiety that they'll be lost and unproductive for weeks. A business owner reviewing growth projections on a laptop in a sunlit home office, feeling confident they can actually execute on the expansion plan, is experiencing the strategic leverage that good systems create. There's also a retention angle that doesn't get talked about enough. New hires who feel competent and supported in their first month stick around. Automated onboarding systems that guide people through early wins, first successful task, first client interaction, first positive feedback, create a sense of momentum. The dopamine hit of progress, visualized as a progress bar filling up on a clean interface, is a powerful retention tool. Conversely, new hires who spend their first 2 weeks feeling confused and undersupported start looking for other opportunities before they even finish probation. To be honest with you, the businesses winning with AI onboarding automation aren't the ones chasing the fanciest features. They're the ones who start narrow. Pick one pain point. Maybe it's answering repetitive questions about your internal systems, or maybe it's walking people through your client management workflow, and automate just that. A product team whiteboarding a single use case on a glass wall with colorful markers is making smarter progress than a company trying to automate everything at once. Build momentum with small wins, then expand. The long-term shift here is cultural. As AI takes over more of the rote knowledge transfer, the definition of good onboarding changes. It becomes less about absorbing information and more about developing judgment, building relationships, and understanding strategic context. A new hire on a video call with a mentor, discussing a complex client situation and exploring different approaches, is getting the kind of onboarding that AI can't replicate. But they can get there faster because the AI already handled the foundational stuff. So here's the takeaway. AI onboarding automation isn't about replacing human connection. It's about removing the friction that prevents real connection from happening. It's about getting your best people out of the repetitive explanation loop and into the high-leverage conversations that actually grow your business. The constraint isn't the technology. It's whether you're willing to invest the upfront effort to structure your knowledge and whether you can maintain the human elements that make someone want to join and stay. What's your biggest onboarding challenge right now? Drop it in the comments. And if this kind of practical business tech breakdown is useful, hit subscribe. We're focused on tools that create real ROI, not just buzz.